Coming to you live from downtown Detroit, this is Benzinga's PreMarket Prep. With your host, Joel Elconin.
This is a volatile puppy here, isn't it?
And Dennis Dick.
I'm bidding a penny. I will buy the stock for a penny.
With everything you need to start your trading day.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this Tuesday edition of Benzinga's Pre-Market Prep. Spencer Israel, Joel Elconin, and Dennis Dick with Mitch Hott with you this morning. What's on our radar? We got a bunch of companies raising money via debt or equity this morning. Neo, Zoom, Lemonade, Realty Income. So we'll talk about those. We're going to talk about Taiwan Semi and Intel. We're going to talk about Twitter from yesterday, Penn National from yesterday, a bunch of stocks on our radar. Our guest today is Nick Shaheen. He's the author of Create Income with Option Spreads. He's our options guy. He would join us at 8:35. Before I go to Joel, smash that like button on YouTube. It takes 3 seconds less, and it helps us out, so we appreciate that. Now let's go to Joel here, and Joel will fill us in on what exactly has happened in the overnight trading session. Mr. Elconin, good morning.
Good morning, Spencer. Market's trying to avoid its first two-day losing streak since December 9th and 10th, and we're off to a decent start. Caught a bid a little bit under that closing price. We're up 9 1/4, 38.01 1/4. Couple numbers on the upside we could talk about a little bit later on. Crude found a new handle this morning when it got up to 53.26. That's up 68 cents at 52.93, giving a little more credibility to the inflation argument if they included crude. Gold up 7.10 at 18.58 even, let's call. Silver up 18 cents at 25.46.5. And Bitcoin back in the green after a bad day yesterday. The Bitcoin futures are up $1,705 at $35,485. Good morning, Triple D here, and more offerings today, huh? Some on stocks that have been going up, and some that are not in really great shape.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of companies that need to raise capital to continue to grow the companies. So you're seeing, some convertible offerings last night, but you're seeing it from some high growth names. I mean, this is one of the risks of trading and investing in higher growth companies, that they do offerings, and that dilutes your holdings overall. So unless you buy more shares, you own less of the company. So last night, just to give you, some examples here, you had Lemonade, LMND, doing an offering. You had Neo doing a convertible offering. You also had DocuSign doing a convertible offering, although for whatever reason they're not looking at that one because it's not down. I believe, at least I saw it go by on the headline. And then this morning you get Zoom doing an offering as well. So all these companies are growing the companies. They're all in the growth stage. So they all just continue to need, because they're burning cash as they grow, so they need more cash. So the one difference is, one of these charts don't look like the other, and that is Zoom. We've been bearish Zoom for a while, and I've said on this show I think it's eventually going under $100. So, I don't know what's going on. Obviously not going to go straight there. There's going to be some rip and rallies, and there has been some rip and rallies since we got bearish back, we've been bearish for a while. We were bearish early, though, because it's got ridiculously overdone, and we've just stayed on the bear train. But I just mean the competition for this one. And that's why, everybody's like, oh, yeah, Zoom, we're all going to Zoom. Well, are we? Look at Benzinga's PreMarket Prep. What are we using here? I mean, we've said this. We just moved off of Zoom because there's so many other cool, platforms to use. There's so much choice out there. So you think $100 billion company plus for, really a one-trick pony here right now? Unless they get some more tricks, I'm going to stay on the bear train on this one.
Yeah, this is just hanging out. We talked about this one yesterday afternoon, didn't we, Spencer? And it was just hanging out. When you have a big move like that, and then you just hang out at the lows. I mean, today you had a catalyst, right, to bust it under there, but it just clear as day. You're just hanging out there, hanging near the lows, and same thing on the upside. Got a gap on the monthly chart to fill, and I think we talked about this yesterday at 328. I believe that was a bump up on a good earnings report. pre-market low. They whacked it pretty good. They knocked it down to 318.58 if you're looking at it technically. In order to fill the gap, even on the monthly chart, 326. But once again, when we get that price in 24 hours, we'll have a better
things.
idea.
Yeah, and I'll say this again. I never buy a stock before I know what the offering price is, because those offering prices often act like a magnet. They can act like a floor, which is nice, but I mean, if there's, if they got to go down to 320 or 310 to get this thing done, not saying they're gonna, but we don't know that they're not gonna have to. It's going to go lower, the share price. I mean, convertible offerings are a different story, and NEO, they're saying, that the convert price actually, sometimes in these convertible offerings, they put the convertible price above where the stock is trading because they're not doing an offer immediately. They're giving you, obviously, a convertible offering. They're giving you, something that can be converted into it. So they don't have to price it below the market. So NEO, coincidentally, too, though, is obviously down because Citigroup downgraded it.
Yep,
so,
Citigroup.
So you got the double whammy, offering and downgrade. It came off the lows and actually went green last night and green this morning, which is impressive. On a day that you get a downgrade, a day that you get a convertible offering, so potential dilution coming out, stock goes green. I mean, that's very impressive. What isn't impressive is really the tape from yesterday. It closed kind of weak. Maybe there's some people who had an inkling that there was going to be an offering. I'm not saying any nefarious stuff, but you never know. Maybe people are even speculating it. It was up at the highs. It made the high earlier in the day and then kind of just leaked all day. So you don't like to see them necessarily when they have a big gap up close on the lows, because then you start thinking, oh, there's the potential for a gap fill situation. The gap fill would take you down to 59.31. I mean, we kind of filled it last night almost perfectly on the offering. If you look at, the after hours low, it looks like it pretty much coincides with filling that gap. But technicians don't look at after hours charts, so they're going to say, oh, there's still a gap to fill there. And there is. So what are your thoughts? I mean, NEO, the stock is still making, made new all-time high yesterday. The stock is showing some pretty good resilience here this morning in the face of adversity with the downgrade and the convertible offering. So I think maybe the gap fill could be a possibility, but I'm not getting on the bear train on NEO here.
No, it's hard to. 59.36 is, well, actually, there's one of two gaps to fill. The first one's at 59.36. And yesterday, you just kind of had the circumstance. I mean, if you held it through the event, you were waiting for the catalyst, you held it through the event,
yeah.
And if you ultimately wanted to sell the news was yesterday and over the weekend. And so that's what you had. Like I said, double gap to fill. For the first one, you got to get down to 59.31. You got to 59.36 in the pre-market. And then also, where's that other gap from a couple days ago? You got another gap.
Gapping into a gap.
Yeah, gap into a gap between. No, that one. Where's that other one? The other one's a small one.
Yeah,
but see what happens at 59.30 first. I mean, that's the pre-market low.
Yeah,
after
if it
that,
can hold that.
Yeah.
Again, stocks making new all-time highs just because they close weak doesn't necessarily, mean a reversal. I mean, Tesla rolling over didn't help any of the EVs yesterday. Let's be honest. It was going to drag down NEO. It was going to drag down a couple of the other EV stocks. It dragged down some of the lithium plays as well, because they're obviously looking for Tesla for leadership, and the leadership failed. Man, I'm kind of ticked off at myself on that Tesla short because I basically covered the top. We know, I was trying to short a rocket ship, trying to be a hero. There was really no reason to short it. I got, pretty close to getting the top just by getting lucky, on the short side, because I shorted at 863, I think. And then I've had my line in the sand up at 876. I gave myself like 13 points. I said, that's basically 1.5%. And it stopped me at like 25 minutes later. I was like, well, that's a quick way to lose money, shorting stocks that are making new all-time highs. So I learned the hard way. But, then, for whatever reason, it, obviously rolls over and has never looked back. So stopped out very poorly. My spidey senses were maybe right on that one. But again, when you're trying to short stocks.
Yeah.
When you're trying to short stocks making new all-time highs, you're asking for trouble. And you're asking to get stopped out. And maybe my stop is too tight. Maybe you should have put it up above 900. You can do a lot of reasons. But really, the trade wasn't there. And I talked about it yesterday. You're trying to squeeze water from a stone when you're trying to short a stock, making a new all-time high.
Yeah, we talked about that. You just missed it. I mean, 13 points, that's less than 2% on
Yeah,
a $850.
but I don't like losing 13 points, Joel.
No, I know it hurts.
I was even going to go tighter than that, and then you were like, you got to give yourself to the high. And I'm like, you're right. I got to give myself to the high. So I upped it a little bit because I was going to go 870 only. So
yeah, they still would have gotten you, right?
And you want to know the slippage on that sucker? So I had to stop at 876. I got filled at 877.90.
Really?
I had 2 points of slippage on that stop order. Yeah. Maybe it's because, I was in an obvious spot because, it was the high of the day and, I had come off the highs and maybe there's other ones. There was 2 points of slippage on the stop. That's unbelievable. On a stock like Tesla, you'd think you'd have like maybe 25 cents or 30 cents of slippage. It was 2 points of slippage. Crazy. So anyways, if you're not familiar with stops, stop becomes a market order once the price is hit. So that were to become a market order, and it just takes whatever available price is best out there. It was 2 points higher. It's crazy.
Yeah, you could also but you leave yourself in danger of not getting filled. You could put a stop limit in, and then when it goes through that, I mean, eventually you would have gotten done. But when you're out, you want to be out. But a stop limit becomes a buy stop. That would have been an 876 limit or wherever you had it at, and then when it came back down.
But then you miss it altogether, and it keeps going on you, and you're not limiting your losses.
I agree.
So I hate using physical stops. The only reason I ever use a physical stop is if I'm not at my trading desk. That's the only time I'm using like a physical stop order. You say, why aren't you at your trading desk at 11? Well, if you listen to the show for 5 years, I don't trade 11 to 2. Who trade? 11 to 2 is chop hour. You get chopped up. A lot of times there's no trend. The only reason I would be at my desk at 11 o'clock is if there's news, there's potential stuff coming out, or there's a lot of volatility. So, you know me, my hours are 7 to 10. Where I'm trading actively in the pre-market, I'm trading actively at the open, and then I'm getting out of my opening positions. I try to be done by 10 o'clock. And then I hang out with my kids for a little bit because I work at nights, and I work, from the night shift where I'll come in at 3 o'clock. I trade the close. I trade that first hour very heavily because there's lots of headlines, lots of news.
4 and 5.
4 to 5. That's my bread and butter hour because there's all kinds of news, all kinds of inefficiencies to take advantage of. Because when you're in that price discovery mode from a headline, some people just get overdone. You can use technicals. You can say, well, this is the level it's going to go to. It's all kinds of different ways to trade that. And people were asking me, you talk about inefficiencies. That's what I'm talking about. Like the open, the close, those are inefficient events where there's just huge buyers and sellers pushing price to maybe where it doesn't want to naturally be. But then also, after hours, there's a headline coming out, on a stock. Maybe I'm going to buy a pure play. Coming up is going to be home builder KB Homes reports tonight. Well, maybe I'm not trading KB Homes. Maybe I'm trading Lennar with it. Maybe I'm trading Toll with it. Those are inefficiencies that you can take advantage of. You've got to be quick. But, there is those opportunities there. So, that's a classic relationship-based trading.
Yeah, one thing, just going back to the stops, you can also give a stop with a limit area, like 76 to 76.50. We got something a little negative out here. We just dropped about 4 or 5 points. Nothing alarming in this market. So, Dennis, you're probably getting filled on some market-making bids there. Not sure what the news is there, but we just lost 3,800 in a full swoop in 814. So I doubt if there was any economic data, but we'll keep an eye on it. Still up 6 on the session here at 37.9850.
I'm just trying to work out of some stocks here, too.
Sure, go ahead.
This is not what Joel was referring to, but did you guys hear who passed away last night? It just was announced that as we were starting our show.
Sheldon Adelson.
Yeah, Sheldon Adelson from Las Vegas Sands, founder and CEO.
Oh, really?
And Titan of Las Vegas and
Really?
gambling industry. So
that just got announced?
8 a.m. this morning. Yep.
Yeah, Las Vegas Sands actually going down on that. So it just went to the red.
Believe me, I noticed.
That's an interesting chart.
Look
at that thing. That thing gapped up.
Man, sometimes I just hate traders.
I know. Well, and myself included. If you think if there's a negative press headline, do you short the stock? I mean, you have an ethical thing to it. It's like, okay, well, let's have some respect. The person died. Do I short the stock? Because that typically when you lose a founder, you lose something like that. Unless they're actively very involved in the company, it typically won't do much damage to the stock. So I don't expect Las Vegas Sands to roll over like 2-3% here this morning. But if you were to get a founder like and I always said this with Warren Buffett and Berkshire Hathaway. I mean, the day that Warren Buffett, he's older, and obviously the day that, succumbs to this world, Berkshire Hathaway is going to get hit on that. There's just no doubt, because obviously he's been the brains behind it all for a long time. Now he has some good succession planning in place, but when we saw, when Jobs died with Apple, everybody said that's the end of Apple. Like this is it. Steve Jobs was Apple, and we've watched Apple go up 500% since Jobs has died. So I mean, it obviously wasn't the end of Apple. So you can get good succession planning, but it's tough when you lose the key figure that started or founded a company.
I'm going line crazy here on this one, just because I just look at the setups. First of all, if you're thinking of shorting this thing, man, until this thing gets through $60, man, oh man, that's a monthly number too for you. Look at the rebounded off, cleared the February high, but $60 is just rock solid there. And then on the downside here, you take out this 50, maybe it's even 55. You gapped up since Vaccine Monday. You've been holding 55. So you take out that 55, you got the
Big
gap
level.
to fill. Yeah, there's some nice levels in there. Right now, you're kind of in no man's land. But keep an eye. I'll leave those lines up there. I like those. The bottom one I like because you're getting it from a monthly perspective and a longer time frame. And then the top one's not bad either. I'm drawing it at least under a couple points. So keep an eye on those 55 to 60. Las Vegas.
You want to talk about nice levels? Twitter yesterday, we called it on the show, the 45, and I did not put the order in there, and I wish I would have because I was talking about buying the dip, and it went down there, and you had to have your order in there because it went really fast. But right off the hop, it got down to 45.15, right to that huge 45 level, and then it bounced. I mean, I think that's the low of the move, so I think if you pull in, I think you're going to find buyers here. Again,
that
some
far off
people
the
are
low.
saying, some people are saying social media is going to be under attack because, obviously everything that's happened, people using social media to, cause events like we saw last week at the Senate, to organize events like this. I just can't see, it's a hard thing. They're going to try to control stuff like that. It's a hard thing to control. I just think there's so many people using social media for everything. Like we can sure we can point out the bad stuff that's caused, that social media has caused, but it's good stuff too. I mean, we get a lot of good information from social media too. A lot of misinformation, obviously, but there's also good information coming from it too. I mean, you think about the way people communicate just for their own personal events. Not that we have any events during COVID, but their own personal events for Facebook. Like I'm having a birthday party. You don't send out invitations in the mail anymore. You don't call up on your phone. You just put out a Facebook invite, and everybody knows, and they say whether they're going to go or they're not going to go. I mean, it's an efficient way of communicating, not only with people you don't know, but with the people you know. So I still think Twitter is a buy. I think that 45. I wish I would have had my order out there. I did not.
It was quick.
It was quick. You had to get it out there. I mean. And this, people say, oh, you say, you set your level. Why wouldn't you buy it? I mean, I'm trading so many bloody stocks. It's when I get to it. So my long-term investment portfolio is when I get to it. I don't look at it all the time. I'm trying to get to it. I would have liked to have, and I probably would have put the order in there. If it would have hit it after 10 o'clock, I probably would have got it. But I've got to go over there. I've got to log in the long-term investment portfolio. It's not my bread and butter, and I don't like logging into my investment portfolio every day because then I'm looking at it too much, and I might start trading it more. So I intentionally try not to look at my longer term stuff. And for the most part, when I'm giving you calls, I'm giving you stuff that I like. A lot of times I'm giving you, oh, yeah, this looks like a good swing trade, or this looks like a good longer term investment. We like to talk and have that hat on as well, not only just the trading hat, but the investing hat.
Yeah, it got 45 when it gotten done. Low was 45.15, but 46. I think I was actually more at 46 than I was at 45 because you had a pair of lows there. So you would have gotten done there easily, but you kind of would have been scratching your head when it went to lower 45 handle. The other thing I just want to mention about that is that took place very early in the session. So within the first 15 minutes, if you're going to see
that's where you
reversals,
get the good prices, though.
Yeah,
first 50.
It's true. It's true.
There's a reason why I'm so
Price
focused
discovery.
in that 9:30 to 9:45 period, because that's where stuff gets chopped out away from where it wants to be. That's where you get that good opportunity. Getting those orders in there early is the key. I do want to say with pricing, when you're pricing at a big level, and this is a lesson that we haven't given on the show in a long time. If you say I like the 45 level, don't put your buy order at 45 because it's a big number. It's where a lot of other orders might be in the queue. Like don't go 45.00 even. If I like a 45 level, I'll put the buy at like 45.10. I put it ahead of it, 45.11. I wouldn't have got done on this one either at 45.15. But, if you're just thinking, oh, I like the stock at 45, don't put 45. Put a little bit above that because it's going to get real thick at a big level like that 45. Maybe you want to go 45 and a quarter. Maybe you want to give yourself some extra room. I mean, we're talking dollars here. Twitter's swinging around. Don't try to get to the actual penny. So if I'm trying to sell a stock at $100, I usually throw it out like 99.85. Like 15 cents down from. These are swing trades, or longer term investing. Just getting out of it. It's a tip. Don't throw it right at the whole number because it's usually some size and some institutional action
there. You got
there.
the size.
They're thicker.
Yep.
You want to get in front of that. So if you're selling stocks, stay below the big whole number. If you're buying stocks, stay above the big whole number. So for instance, you like the 45 buy? Okay, great. Put your buy at 45.10, 45.15, 45.20. Put it a little bit above it. You want to sell Penn National, which is another one at $100? Sell it at 99.80. Make sure you get done on it. In this case, obviously, you would have got blown right through it, and Penn is now making new highs, and I am still long Penn. So it did hit our $100 price target, which we gave it to it a long time ago. I'm still long it. I don't know. I mean, some of these things hit your price targets, but we're in this market that just keeps rising. It's like every time I sell something, I regret it a week later. It's such a difficult market to trade when, you obviously have just this relentless bull and this relentless buy the dip mentality.
Yeah, I did. You did talk about Penn. I mean, the playoffs. There's a lot of more states are approving it. You did get over it yesterday, and even in the pre-market highs. So, not doing much in the pre-market, but just keeping an eye at yesterday. That's really all you have. 102.59. If you're looking for that, it's only $1.09 away from that. And if you're a little bit longer term player, you want to see an improvement on that old time closing high of 100.38.
I did buy one stock in the long term portfolio yesterday, and it's because I'm going to be the lemming along with everyone else. I bought it because Kathy would have bought it, and I bought Sarepta. So I couldn't resist. I was thinking about buying the dip, and then I saw Kathy the next night, obviously, and she comes in and she bought a whole pile of stock, and I was like, you know what? They're just following her. There could be more people to follow her eventually here as well. And what if she buys? If she buys some more, I don't know if she's going to do that, but if she does, the stock will go up on that as well, because every time she buys something, it seems to pop 3 or 4% at least. So I couldn't resist. I've had this one in the portfolio for a long time. I sold it at $147 back, I don't know, like 6 months ago maybe, and then it ran to 180 and I was pissed off. So now it's come back down. It's giving me a chance to get way below where I owned it. So couldn't resist, back in Sarepta.
Yeah, boy, oh boy, that thing just got walloped, and it was one of those occasions where the let's see, I'm pretty sure the pre-market low did not even get close to getting hit. I'm trying to find it on the 15, but don't have it up. But yeah, that's one time where if you were waiting for the pre-market low, you were left out in the cold.
It was, and it got way overdone. So I bought it early in the morning. I think around 85. I did get the order out there fairly early, and it ran all day. It actually, like craziness, it ran to 96.21. I was up 10 points on that. I didn't even notice that, in literally like 3 hours. I'm like, I looked back and it was trading 91. I was like, really? And I was like, the high's 96. I'm like, they took that thing up $10 from where I bought it. Anyways, I almost should have just turned around and made it a day trade when you make 10 points on something in 3 hours. But no, this was put in my longer term investing account. So I'm going to try not to look at it. I don't know where the hell my price target is.
Wow. And once again, and this is why, we're here for you. We do the show. We talk about these pre-market levels. This got to 75.22. This was actually in the after hours. So, and then when you look at a long-term chart and you look down here and you look at those lows, yeah, you can say 74, 70. Actually, they're 73, 74. But man, if you're talking about a stock that was $180 last month and then it comes near 80, whew,
and it's got that huge support.
Yeah, never saw that in the regular session. Actually, the low on that day was not even at 80. I think it was 82. Yeah, 82 and a quarter.
Again, when these pharmaceutical companies dip, sometimes the dips can stay for a long time. And, if the drug eventually does not get approved, it could have another dip too. Whenever you're owning these smaller pharmaceutical companies, they have major headline risk. Everybody learned the hard way with Sarepta with it falling 50% in one day. But this can happen again. Don't kid yourself. So if you're in there and you think, okay, well, if it ever goes below 75, it could open up 50 on you one day. It could do that. I'm prepared for that. I mean, I've held pharmaceutical companies, and they'll ding you sometimes. You just got to go with speculative capital. Never go all in on a pharma company. I'll tell you that.
And know your pharma calendar too. People,
It helps.
I mean, sometimes they I don't know if this one was that much pre-announced, but a lot of times they have those dates and they're out there, and
yeah,
you can avoid disaster.
So a couple of things on Sarepta. Notable that Ark did not buy Sarepta yesterday.
No.
So either they're taking a break, they're waiting for the shake, waiting for things to settle down, or they're done. And also,
she bought a big chunk though on the first day, like 800,000 shares.
Yeah.
So maybe she just won. The one thing I bet you, Spencer, sorry to interrupt you, but I just want to make a point on this. I bet because the volume was so high,
yeah,
she might have just got all the stock she needed. I mean,
Maybe.
if you're big enough and the volume's low and you're trading some of these low floaters, it takes you a few days to get them. Something like Sarepta, she bought 800,000 shares. I mean, the volume was ridiculously high. Probably was just easy to, fairly easy to get that much stock because there was so much stock being traded.
Yep.
So maybe it only took her one day. Maybe it only took her one day to get it.
The trading on that day,
She could be done.
We looked at it and it was just flatline. You think a stock, falls that much that, wow, there got to be some people in there buying. Well, there were people in there buying and selling in the 15. I mean, it was still a wide range, but it was nothing. I remember looking at that. What day was that? Friday that happened? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. It was Friday. So, all right.
So-
SRPT.
for whatever it's worth, a couple follow through downgrades. UBS yesterday, Citigroup this morning on Sarepta. So I don't know, just reacting to the price action.
Yeah, that's
and
what it is.
the news. All right. What did I
Can
want
we
to say?
stick with Ark? Can we stick with Ark?
Sure. I just pulled up the email from last night. You want to talk about BMY?
Yeah. So this was a surprise one. And you're seeing Bristol Myers lift. It's amazing. She even has influence on the big ones too. You would think, oh, Bristol Myers isn't going to move on this. It's a huge company, but it is. It popped right on the email.
So I've been noticing that so the email lists all their buys and sells for the day. The only stocks that move are when she buys and I'm just ballparking here, like at least six figures, like in terms of her number of shares, right? Like if she's buying 2,000 shares of stock, it's not going to move it, right?
Unless it's a small cap. Because here's one for you.
All right.
This is a funny one from last night, and I was like, are you serious? ESLT. Look at this buy.
Yeah, she bought 562
shares. 500 shares. The thing was up $3 or $4 last night. I was like, really? She bought 500 shares of this, guys and girls. She didn't load up the boat, and I think they're going to rally it up on that. So, I mean, I put a little hole in your theory there, Spencer.
All right, fine.
Maybe if the company's really small, but that's just ridiculous. Again, and you know what else? It's just like the SEC filings. They ignore the sells. You sell something, oh, that's not bearish. She's just selling because she wants to buy something else, so they ignore the sells. The SEC filings are so rigged to the upside. You can sell like 1 million shares of something, an insider, and they'll completely ignore it. But if they buy 500 shares of something, oh, you got to buy it. He's buying. They got to buy it. I mean, this whole market's rigged to the upside.
Anyway, Kathy,
19,994 shares traded yesterday. So that 500 is a bigger percentage than you thought.
Still trying to find the tea leaf, the silver lining in the 500 share buy, and the thing's up 1.7% this morning.
Giving you.
What about Bristol Myers, though? Because this was a big purchase.
66.
Is that the level?
That's it. Yeah.
I've wanted to own this stock for a long time. Kramer pumps it all the time. It's one of his favorites. I never put it in there. I don't know why. I've talked about it for a long time. I think because I have so much other pharma. I just have too much pharma. I own Merck and I own Pfizer, which are boring stocks. I own Biogen and I don't even know what the heck else I own. I own a whole pile of pharmaceutical stocks. I'm just like, because the valuation's cheap too and they give good dividends, which I like as well. But I don't know. It's one I've always wanted to own. I just never have bought it.
66 on the dailies, doesn't look that impressive. You got the 1 monthly high there, but see if there's some stock in the book there. 66. You poked your head on there. The day this had rallied before Vaccine Monday. What was those? Did they have some COVID news or something that run from 58 to 66 in 1, 2, 3, 4 days? Was that in early November? Was that COVID related?
Let me go back into
Must
the
have been
Benzinga
something.
Pro. You're saying like the first week or two?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw too. I don't know what that run was about.
End of October, probably the
I
first.
see it.
Yeah.
So I went from like 57 to 66.
That was
a
earnings.
huge
That was
move for
earnings.
Bristol.
Earnings?
That was
Wow.
earnings. They had earnings on November 5th.
Yeah,
Big
but it
moves.
started running before that. What
Okay.
about
Let me back.
Anticipating the earnings.
Let me back up a bit. Let me back up
October
a bit.
30th is when it first got goosed. Whatever. It just had
Duck goose.
that is just a big run for missile wires, and then people got caught. We'll see what happens. A lot of people got caught in this little downdraft, but we'll see what happens at 66. Not as important on the monthly charts, though.
Here's an
All right.
interesting buy the dip too from Kathy. I know you want to go on, but I'm not going to let you. LMT. She bought some Lockheed Martin, and it's trading up $2.31. This Miami market's helping it. Don't expect huge moves, but this stock has been in the doghouse. Look at this chart now. LMT just going straight down, straight down, straight down. Does Kathy Wood bottom the stock?
We'll find out.
I could get talked into Lockheed Martin. I've always wanted to own this one too. It's got a nice 3% dividend, although in an inflationary environment, 3% dividend isn't as attractive. But you also have the defense stock. I mean, it doesn't look like we're getting away from. I mean, maybe you're saying, okay, it's selling off because this is kind of like a Trump stock. There's going to be, maybe not as much hostility towards other countries as Trump has shown in the past. But at the same time, our relationship with China is not great right now. I mean, thinking Lockheed Martin, defense stock, I'm like,
Yeah, undercut and rally yesterday. You did have the low of the move at 335. It took it out, so she's looking at the charts. And
maybe I just start following Kathy Wood like everyone else. Maybe I just give up thinking, and I'll just blindly follow Kathy Wood. And you know what? Maybe I'll make more money that way. That might not be a bad idea. I'm just going to be like everybody else. What do you think?
I think that will last
should I
about
stop thinking? Okay,
25
we'll do the vote
seconds.
in the chat. 1, I should stop thinking and just blindly follow Kathy Wood for all of my trades. 2, I should keep thinking and not fade Kathy Wood. I'm not going to fade Kathy Wood because I've done that before and it doesn't work out well. But just ignore her. So 1 for blindly following Kathy. 2 for thinking still. What do we have?
3.
I once blindly follow Kathy is
blindly
winning. I need to just blindly follow Kathy. This is it. Don't think anymore. Just blindly follow Kathy and bank coin.
Dennis, what would you talk about, though?
Kathy, well, I just talked about her for 10 minutes. I could do it for an hour. Kathy, we'll get her
Wait,
on the show. We talk enough, she'll come on the show.
There are a couple of twos. There are a couple
Raz
of same
has
people
connections
here.
with her. There's a couple of twos I want people to still think. They just don't want my tangents anymore.
Maybe. 8:33, we're going to have Nick Shaheen on in a couple minutes. Let's just talk Snapchat quickly since we were talking about social media stocks. There's been a divergence here. Facebook.
They got Gordon on with Gene.
Oh, look at this. We almost got it. We almost we can't. I want to hear. We're going to mirror our own show. Gordo's going against Gene. This is good television. We can do that. We have these guys. We're bringing Gordo and Gene on. We're going to copy this Squawk Box segment.
You know what? I never asked Gene about that.
We got to get Gordo versus Gene. They beat us. Joel, you slipped on this one.
I didn't want to
You totally could have set this one up.
I know, but I didn't want to. I don't know.
Oh, it's over. It's over.
Yeah. Anyways, I looked over and I see Gino, and then I see Gordo. Oh man, that would have been fun. Well, you know who's been on the right side of that trade, though.
The problem with that, though, is they each talked for 15 minutes uninterrupted, and the next thing you know, it's 9 o'clock, and we talked about one thing. But yeah. That would be fun.
We should get, we could do better than that. We could get Bill Santiago and Kenny Glick on it.
That'd be good. The comedians, one-on-one.
I would have my finger on the mute button, hovering.
We're going to get some fines coming from that one.
All right, let's, we'll talk Snapchat in a second, but let's bring on our guest here, Nick Shaheen. His camera is off. Let me see if I can...
Nick doesn't do camera.
Yeah,
no, I know that.
Are you new here?
No, I know that, but I want to see if I can get it so it's not showing that. In any case, Nick Shaheen is the author of Creating.
It's 5:35 for you, Nick? You haven't got up.
It's this big line through it too.
Yeah.
It's like Zoom doesn't show it in the background. Now they show a big line. It's like Nick doesn't
no zoom for you. No zoom for you.
Just if you stop the cam, it'll go to an avatar.
There, yeah, that's what I was thinking, Nick.
I like the big line.
Okay,
because it's like it makes him look tougher. He's like,
there you go.
There we go. Thanks a lot, Mitch. All right,
sure.
Let's go with that.
Right.
Nick, what's doing this morning?
Just trying to catch up. I've been behind writing up some things, looking at the overnight battle. And it's pretty interesting what's going on. The fundamentals are kind of scary, but the price action is nowhere near scary. So there's this push-pull between fundamental trading and the thought of what Ark is doing. So I'm getting there's so many questions about the Ark stocks. Suddenly everybody's interested in these Ark stocks. And why don't they just buy the Ark ETFs that they have out there? They have like 1,000 of them. So pick one and you're going to win.
I'll tell you why. They don't go up 10% in a day.
They look parabolic to me. I mean,
there's got to be some rules against that.
Yeah. So it's amazing how the SEC is allowing these people to create their own profits. Them and Citron. He takes a position, he tweets, he wins, he's out, he's gone. Same with Kathy Wood. I mean, she did
although Kathy, we'll give Kathy some credit.
Right.
I don't see any of these sells coming.
Yeah.
Like Citron, we know is a little more active traded.
But he does it both ways too. He does.
Yeah,
it both ways.
He does. Yeah. But I think Kathy seems to be longer. I haven't seen any cases where she's like buy. Then the market buys up 10%, then she's like sell. I haven't seen that.
No, but it's becoming that way because I know from my own room, I have 250 people in there, and almost every day I get dozens coming in. What do you think about that stock? And I go to her, I go to her email, and sure enough, that stock is in there. So it's just amazing that how this is going on. But
and you're right, they are creating their own profits to a certain extent. We talked about this on the show. I mean, she's up 5%, just because like she comes up with an idea, she's immediately up 5% of that idea because once it gets disclosed, it's going to go up 5% or even more in some cases. Like we've seen some stocks go 20, like Skills, we've seen it go up by 30%.
I don't want to take away from what they've accomplished. I mean, it's not easy to get there, and she definitely put a shoe in my mouth on Tesla stock as far as valuation, not the company thing, but the valuation. That's for sure. She was right, and I was wrong on that one. And so I don't want to take away from what they've done. I just don't like how it's going on right now, and it's against the rules, but nobody's enforcing the rules. Anyway, so there are some stocks to trade, there are some themes to trade, and we've had some home runs and some setbacks. And I was long Twitter. I'm no longer long Twitter because they keep proving to me that they're dumbasses. And so, I took a long position and it paid right away. And I said, no, this is a long-term commitment for the whole year because of whatever purchase they did. That's a Zoom-like feature. I was like, maybe they're trying to monetize their user base. And this week they're telling me, no, we don't care about half the user base. Go take a hike. So I was like, okay, I won't tweet anymore then maybe. So it's just amazing what I'm seeing going on these days. It's so bifurcated, and the righteous is forcing the quote non-righteous to be righteous. It's like they want everybody to be of the same opinion. What kind of a world is that? It's really upsetting.
Well, that's why we start to see some stocks and just start trending, and then everybody gets on the trend and they keep following. I mean, it's hard not to be a trend follower in here when you have, something, even like Kathy buying something. And the stock doesn't even go up that day. Sometimes it continues to go up for days after she purchased it. It's like, holy man, they're still talking about this purchase from 3 days ago and it's still going up. I mean, but it's not just that. It's just we're in a trend following market. People like momentum.
I see.
Going higher.
I see from somebody doesn't like what I just said. Getting in the way of what? If you join my room, you know that nothing is getting in the way of anything. I trade based on the charts, pure and simple. I don't listen to news. I cut out CNBC 100%. So if you don't like what I'm saying, you can take a hike.
Okay.
Wait, Nick, talk about that Twitter thing for a second, because it sounded like what you had said. You had basically changed your mind on the fly, right? You had said this is going to be a long-term holding, and then you just said, screw it.
Yeah.
So because talk about that change in mind.
The change of mind is my thesis to go long for Twitter was the fact that they were doing the right move, maybe to monetize their user base. So we can all agree that they're not explosive growth like we thought, like the user count, active user count. So I thought maybe if they bought a Zoom-like feature, I forgot the company name, then maybe they're trying to monetize the base rather than, hey, how many ads can we get and all of that. Yeah. So I was willing to take a long term for that one surprise earnings report where, hey, we turned this on and look at the income we're getting. So that was the reason to go long. And then these developments happened, and I was like, wait a minute, what is going on here? I smell a rat. They're not dedicated to that. They are more interested in their political righteousness. So I said, I'm not on board with this, and I got out, plain and simple, because my thesis is wrong. My thesis was they're trying to monetize their user base, and then this action tells me that they're actively reducing their user base by a lot.
Did they have a choice, really, though? I mean, with the whole Trump situation, I mean, they kind of backed into a corner. I mean, all the social media is the same thing. I mean, after those actions from last week, I'm not sure they had a choice.
I don't know what actions. I have not listened to the news. So here's what I...
No, I'm saying that's, because, people...
Here's my take.
Okay.
If it is legal and somebody said it, they should be allowed to say it. Period, plain and simple. I don't know who said what and what they kicked out, but they're alienating.
The whole reason it's falling is because
kicking out Trump is wrong. That's my opinion. Not because I love Trump. I don't love Trump. Okay, yeah. I like the freedom that I can say something legal. Okay, if I vote Republican, doesn't make me a Trumpeteer. It just makes me that, hey, you know what? I'm voting with my pocketbook and my own beliefs. And this case here, them kicking out Trump, is bizarre to me, just because I don't know what do they expect? What would he have said that they would have said, okay, you can stay on board? It's just weird. And to alienate, how many followers did he have? 50 million? That's the point I'm making. It's not a political point. It's their user base. They are actively reducing their user base. That was my thesis.
Well, I think we're going to find out in a few months when they report earnings for this current quarter. Because Dennis said, you said yesterday that you lost how many followers? They're probably all bots, Dennis. How many followers did you lose?
About 100.
Okay, they're probably all bots. Like, they're not real.
I think they were cleaning it up.
They're cleaning up the bots. So
you're having me go check mine. I was like, how many did I lose?
I've always been suspicious.
No, I still have maybe 10 less, 10 fewer, but that is a normal occurrence.
That's normal churn for Nick.
but I'm interested to see what their active user base is, and their activity, because that is the number that got me into the trade. And I was like, wait a minute, this doesn't work for me. So I'm out of the trade because my thesis was wrong. Not because I was upset they kicked out Trump. Couldn't give two rips about that. Yeah. The fact that they're depleting their own user base. That's the point. That wasn't my thesis to get long, and that's the thesis that got me the point.
Nick,
that got me out.
Are you still picking on Neo?
Well, you know what? I was long the 70 calls for this week, and I closed them like the day before the mega spike. So,
tough stock, huh?
The Neo put was for later this year. It's still there. It was a wild trade, and it is probably down 50%. I haven't checked it, but meanwhile, I was long shorter term as a trade to 70 because I kind of saw a spike coming. I just bailed on it one day too soon.
What about overall market thoughts here, Nick? I mean, we've had that dip last Monday, which just seems like so long ago, and ripped, ended on the high for the week on Friday. Are you seeing, yesterday a down day, a little politics. Are you seeing anything, under the hood here that has you a little bit more concerned long term?
Concerned fundamentally, sure. From the stock trading, yes. I anticipate drama towards the end of January, early February. So if I were to pick a date, somewhere around February 5th. So far, the price action has been very predictable. Every week, I send out a video recap. With it, I forecast what the indices are showing me from the open interest. Last week, they all touched the bottom, they all touched the top, and they closed somewhere in the middle, except for the RUT. The RUT overdid its thing. This week so far, everybody's right in the middle of the range. So nothing is nothing's crazy. So if I write up 7 iron condors, 6 of them are working out. So for the week. So if I can do that, it's a predictable price action. And so far it's been working out.
Okay, so no bumps in the road. I mean, do you have a number underneath where you say, wow, maybe
Sure.
for me,
So
Friday and Monday's low right there. Let's call it 37.75. That was also
I don't know where I can
couple-
pay. I don't know
couple-
where I can post pictures anymore because it sounds like
Well,
you have different chat room.
Nick, you can share your screen, and if you like, and we can bring up, or you can post them in the chat like always, and I can bring them up.
Okay. So I have I have a 4-window chart coming up, and it's for the indices. These are the indices. So it's SPX, NDX. The DIA is the ETF. I don't have a Dow index that's good enough to show, and the RUT with the boxes for the ranges for this week based on Friday close. And also, if you can see, I have 3650 on SPX is a pivot point. So if we are to have a shock of sorts, 3650 is where I would get long in size for a trade. If I were to pick a lower number, 3580, and 3550 to 3580, where I would double down probably.
All right, so I'm sorry. So this is your chart here. I'll make it.
The upper left-hand box is the SPX. And, my alerts don't show, but I do have an alert at 3650, and you can see the wicks, the two thin lines at 3650 that kind of drags down to 3650, and one tall one that goes up to 3650 from November of last year. So this is where I see a pivot point. And then you can see the failure from September, and that should be the other pivot area. So those are the two areas on the SPX that catch my attention. And as far as the NASDAQ, it's more like 12.5 and 12.250. And should we have a complete debacle there, it'll be somewhere around just under 12,000. So there's plenty of room to fall with the speed with which we rose, especially in the small caps. And this is not the old small caps. I mean, if you look at the stocks in there, it's all the little tiny mega movers. So it's not like mom and pop companies out there. Plus, we have small caps that are over 15 billion in market cap now. So what's the threshold on the small caps? It used to be like 5.
That's a good point too. Everything's just getting even
bigger.
Well, you think
bigger is better.
A bunch of small caps, but they're all getting bigger. I mean, the unbelievable move that we've had. Like, think about where we were in the beginning of the year, and nobody liked small caps. It was all about the mega caps, putting all small businesses out, out. And now it's like the mega caps haven't gone anywhere for 6 months. Amazon's just been sitting here doing nothing. Apple, it's like, wow. I mean, I did not totally see that coming here 6 months ago, that we were all going to sudden forget about, our FANGs and, our megas or whatever, acronyms you want to use, and move right into all these companies that everybody had forgotten about.
But when the poop hits the fan, they're going to come back to the sure things, and those are the ones that have P&Ls. It's so these companies that don't have anything to show for right now are just that's what the .com bubble was made of, just eyeballs, nothing, no business model, get a website, you do this. So these SPACs, they don't go through the rigmarole that you go through to become an IPO. Case in point, what happened to what was that, WeWork? Had WeWork been a SPAC,
it would have gone up 100% in 2 days,
and lost a lot of people a lot of money, retail people. So the IPO process weeded that out, regardless of how it actually happened. But it had the opportunity to get weeded out before it hit the market, versus a SPAC, which is kind of like, hey, come on over, I have a skeleton company, let's go.
Nick, before I let you go, can you talk about Boeing here? Are you still bullish?
Yeah, Boeing I do like for the long term, and Boeing has a pivot. If it gets over 242-ish, it's going to recover the whole downside. So I got long at 90. I renewed several times. My target when it just got over 110%, $110 was 225. It hit that and then some twice. So I've had my fair share of good calls on it, but eventually it should be 305 and probably this year, 309-ish. But it needs to get over 242 to trigger that.
Are you talking technically, fundamentally? I mean,
technically, yes, and that's the value. The fundamentals on it, the fact is, it's, you call it an duopoly, but it's really a monopoly, because it's just two different companies for one purpose. They're both sold out. And if airlines get their P&Ls back together to service their debt, then they're going to be ordering planes. I flew in December twice, and both planes were brand new, 737. They weren't MAX models, but they were brand new. So they're buying planes or delivering planes, and it only, I think, logs sales when it delivers the plane. So now that they've unshackled the 737, maybe they can fix their P&Ls. So I see good. There's no reason for it to. How about this? If you eliminate the one area, then the other one is more likely to happen, right? So the 2020 test, the whole thing, is it going to get any tougher than this? I don't think so. And they survived it. So if you eliminate that scenario, then the upside is the easier scenario to happen. So yeah, I expect it fundamentally and technically, but the technical trigger is somewhere around 242.
All right, Nick Shaheen is the author of Create Income with Option Spreads, also runs sellspreads.com, does webinars for Benzinga frequently. You should check him out. Nick, thanks a lot as always.
Thanks,
Speak
Nick.
again.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Nick.
All right, let's
continue to slide a little bit here. That initial decline that I talked about seems to be getting a little bit of follow through. So I don't know if that 2-day streak is well, we haven't had 2 down days at least since early December, but not seeing any major news. Did you seen any
Tesla
imbalances?
spooked some people yesterday. I mean, you had the Bitcoin wreck, then you had Tesla, so you've seen some money come out of the momentum plays in the last couple of days, including Bitcoin on the weekend. The dip is getting bought here this morning in Tesla. It's up 18 points here. I don't see any reason for the S&Ps, and I honestly don't think we're going to go red here because from the imbalances, I don't see what warrants us opening in the red. At least I don't know what happens after 9:30, but I'll tell you right now, we're gonna if these imbalances hold, we're gonna open higher. I've got like some big buy imbalances here this morning. I got General Motors 192,000 to buy. I've got Taiwan Semiconductor, which has a headline with Intel, 236,000 to buy in Taiwan Semiconductor. That's a big number. ExxonMobil, oil is up substantially. ExxonMobil 234,000 to buy. Chevron 41,000 to buy. I've got just moving to the banks. The banks are up because TLT's down. The banks are up big. Goldman Sachs 15,000 to buy. JP Morgan's got 20,000. Citigroup's got 76,000 to buy. I mean, I'm not really seeing any pressure. I do see Eli Lilly with the sell imbalance, but the stock's even trading green right now. I don't really know why it's trading green, but it's got a significant sell imbalance of 62,000 shares. I'm not sure if there was a headline or something because it was trading red about 20 minutes ago. I'm seeing pretty much strength across the board, so I think the S&P dip here, at least right now, appears to be a buy. At least right now. Just that's not saying long term. That's just saying for this morning and for at the open.
On that Taiwan Semi note, so the headline was actually from a couple of days ago, but I guess more details came out overnight that they're providing a component for Intel's newest graphics chip, the TSMC 7 nanometer process.
So, and Intel did announce something with new chips. I mean, this Intel has come back. I'm long Intel, full disclosure. I've been playing it. I've been playing it as 45 to 52. Like, it's been working really well. I probably, if you're just still going to continue to play it that way, it's almost the sale, and then you try to re-get it if it gets back to 45 or 46. It's been the way to play Intel here, is buying the rip and selling the dip here. It's been a really good one. I mean, really, when you go back to the charts here on Intel, Joel, this has been working.
Got it. Yeah, that 45.
A long time. This 45, basically 2 years, 45 to 50, 45 to 50. Then it went up to 60 and missed it for a bit. But then it came back and gives you a 45 again. Then it has the big run to 69, dips down to 45 again, 43, 63 back in March when everything was getting killed. Rips up, back down. I mean, the line in the sand on this stock has been 45, a huge level.
Yeah, and it's 52 has been, I'm going to get rid of this line. I don't know why I had it in there. Maybe it was support, but you're coming up on that area again, Dennis. You're up 13 cents, 53, 52, 53, 69, 24. So there's your seller. Get that breakout over 52, fill that gap. I believe that was from earnings. So it's had a rough road, but by the dip, you're right. That 45, we talked about that on the monthly, going back all the way. I mean, even in 2018, you would have taken a little bit of heat at that 45, but that's been a monthly level of levels.
Can we talk Snapchat for a second? We were talking about social media stocks. Twitter peaked a month ago on the chart. Facebook peaked way back when, September.
Yeah.
Both have been caught up in this brouhaha. You know who hasn't? Snapchat, and it's quietly at all-time highs.
Yeah, and it just continues to rock. I mean, it's hard to fight this trend. The stock made a new all-time high yesterday. I don't like shorting stocks making new all-time highs. When I do it, I lose money. We saw that. So this is, again, classic example of, sure, is the story overdone? Is the move overdone? Maybe. But, I mean, it doesn't look like it's over here yet. So I think you're a buyer. Pullbacks on Snap. I'd say innocent until proven guilty.
It was that caught up as much as in the brouhaha?
No.
Actually, I don't even want to talk.
No, really, it hasn't. I mean, I guess it's. No, it really has. I mean, they've come out and they've said some things, but for some reason, it's just not a focus. Maybe their user base is smaller. It's different.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just
younger
not
people.
For whatever reason, it's just not caught up in this.
We're still sinking, Dennis. I mean, they're selling you buy the dip here. We're about to go flat. There's something going on.
I'm actually buying the dip on SPY because I think it's wrong. But maybe there is something going on here. I'm just telling you, the imbalances, unless they all flip to sell, this looks like an opportunity for me to.
I think there's. This is a little bit of a news move to me. I don't know what the news is, but it's a move.
We're going red. The stocks are not showing this. So I actually just bought some SPY just for a day trade because this is not showing this. I might be wrong because I'm on a show.
You might be buying more in a second here, Dennis. Pre-market low, 87.75.
I'm turning around selling stocks against it right now. So I'm just arbitrage. I mean, if they want to do this, there's a lot of stocks trading green here right now. So I'll buy SPY and short stocks.
And then the impeachment talk has been on and off for several days. We are really getting flossed.
They are not. Yeah, they're gonna have to start hitting. I'm getting flat now and hedged against with stocks. So all I do is I buy SPY and sell stocks.
The great thing about Dennis is you can change your mind in a second.
I'm not even changing my mind. I'm just doing arbitrage. I'm buying more SPY and I'm doing stocks against it. So.
Yeah. All right. 8:57. Let's do a couple stocks from the chat. Do some ticker time here. I saw someone had mentioned Plug Power. It's running here this morning. They had a headline. They signed a memo of understanding. Who's the firm they signed it with? Let me pull it up here. Group Renault. It's a joint venture to establish manufacturing capabilities for hydrogen fuel cell systems and integration into vehicles. So Plug is running on that.
That's unbelievable turn yesterday in Plug, and that dip was working, Joel. Unbelievable turn. It opened near the lows, and they just started buying this. Look at what this did yesterday. It literally opened down like $4, and they bought it up, and now it's up another 10. I mean, Ballard Power, same thing. It's moving up here. Fuel cell, this hydrogen. It's got legs. I mean, this has got a story that's carrying these stocks right now. So I'm not sure what derails it. It's hard to fight these stocks and make them multi-year highs.
Yeah, and then trading at the highs of the pre-market session. I'm not going to go back to the monthlies again and pull it up. Just keep an eye on that pre-market high and follow through. Do we have the Plug guy on a while ago?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, boy, oh boy. And some moving.
Yeah.
No levels to give in that one.
And let's do like one or two more. Oh
sure.
Gosh, there were so many that I had written down throughout the course of the show. CCIV, they'll talk about that on SPAX Attack.
Okay.
So
they got a deal?
No, they didn't get. It's just a rumor of a deal.
Rumors.
So
rumors drive these things. Yeah, I like the $10 SPAC trade. Buying some of these stocks at 10 because then they get a deal and they pop 40%. I still like that trade.
I believe someone had asked way earlier on the show about Nvidia. If I remember correctly, you want to look at that?
Sure. That is that's a mover, man. That stock moves.
They started
around.
showing light. They Nvidia and AMD have been doing nothing. Let's just call it out here. They've been doing absolutely nothing here for a while. I mean, if you look at this daily on Nvidia, it's gone nowhere for the last 3 or 4 months. it eventually probably starts to get some life again. You think this is the chip maker. They're in everything. Everything technology's getting chips. AMD too. It's, obviously I said AMD, I think it's going to $100. I've sold out of my AMD because I actually closed it up coincidentally 2 days ago, a day early apparently. Because I only had the week left. It was this expiration here for Friday. So I was like, well, I'm closing it early, and I locked in. It was trading on intrinsic value, so I locked it in. And then it gets a big move yesterday. I'm like, really? Okay, anyways. But regardless, it was a good trade for me. I bought AMD, the shares, and I did the call spread.
Right.
I made on both. So I made good money on both. So is it going to 100? I think so. Was it going to go to 100 by January 15th? I didn't think so, but maybe it is. I should have held on.
I should mention Nvidia was featured on Neo Day. They announced a partnership where basically they're going to help Neo make their EVs, essentially, components.
Trading range here.
That's why the big move.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
I did this as the stock of the day a few days ago, and trading range. I didn't think it would go from the bottom of the trading range to the top of the trading range in 3 days, but still, and it's lofty, it's still way above that 550 level. So we'll see if it's the actual breakout people are looking for up to near that all-time high. But trading range, at least on the dailies since Vaccine Monday.
This is not the breakout you're looking for. Joel won't
No.
get that. Spencer.
All right. All right. That's going to be a wrap for us here. Mitch, do you have anything you wanted to add? Mitch just hopped in. Good morning.
Hey,
Yeah,
Joel, that
guys.
dip you were all panicked on?
Yeah.
I just made 50 cents on that SPY.
That's called money in the bank, right?
When the stocks are all trading green, SPY wants to just tank for no apparent reason. I was like, I don't see it in the stocks.
Dennis, you started your original buy of the dip was at 37.96.
So 82. I want to see.
96.
I could tell. Well, I have the PN. I have it in front of me, Joel,
Okay.
so I could tell you exactly where it was.
Buy
Let's
the
go
dip.
look.
It always works.
Stop. He wants to know where the original buy. Where did I start buying?
So,
the
guys,
dip on SPY?
well, he finds that spot for you guys. The one that I'm looking at is a sector. I think it's not being really
84
watched.
was my first buy. And then
Thanks,
I bought more SPY. Sorry, Mitch. We're arguing here.
No, you're good.
I bought more at 31.
Keep your eyes on the banks, man. They're making moves.
Jeez,
They're making
they are.
moves.
Pre-earnings. Banks report earnings starting on Friday.
Keep
So,
Is
your
it
eye on-
Friday already, huh?
yeah, pre-earnings run.
What's up with Fubo?
Yeah, what's going on with Fubo?
Fubo.
I told you, sleepy, sideways.
It's, you know what?
and I'll
Above
get
30, I'm
interested.
going to get interested again. I'm out. I might get back in. I'm
get
scared of that
sleepy.
Rich Greenfield guy, though, because he'll come out with something bearish. He doesn't allow this thing to go higher.
Smash that like, guys. Hit the sub. We'll see you guys next time.
Yep, that'll be a wrap for all those of you listening on our podcast. Please remember all the information from our show is meant to be used as informational purposes, not for investing or trading advice. Thanks to our guest, Nick Shaheen. Thanks to all of you in our chats, all 4 or 5. I don't even know how many chats we have at this point, but all the participation, all the comments, all the likes. Thank you very much. Everyone have a good rest of your day. Good luck in your trading. We will talk to you again at 3:40 p.m. Eastern Time.